laughter has gathered, and they are something to behold. One of them just says, say no when people ask you for money. They might give you things for free if you say, come on, man.
I think that's one of the first things you learn.
It's true.
And one of the second was human trafficking is
not
bad.
Good.
That's not good.
I was pretty sure I knew that already, but sometimes it's good to double check.
It is good to just like check the vibe with the group and see like
what are we feeling tonight? Are we going out? We're human trafficking.
Like, yeah.
Well, I feel like the thing about the rules is that they're probably malleable, right? Like there's just like a running system, like a running score that Nona's taking that's just kind of like, oh, this one just went up and this one's just kind of going around there. So it's like a little racehorse thing that's going on in the back of her eyes all the time.
That is 100% correct. The women card lost a lot of points that one time when everybody was like, don't do that anymore.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, if you just look at the alignment chart, Nona's just constantly just moving around slightly depending on what other people are telling her.
I navigate the alignment chart like the DVD logo on a TV screen.
When you hit the corner, you're like, you win. Yeah.
It's like the most complicated Android pattern from 2009.
Nona, what are you doing? Open the doors, Nona. I'm sorry. I can't do that.
I'm in my villain era.
Spoilers, Jeff. We're saving that for the final season.
Oh, we're saving that for the final season. I see.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's later on in the script.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Could
Speaking
you
of the script. What?
If we scripted this and this is the best we could come up with.
All of this was written down and rehearsed. Can you believe it?
And welcome back to the 7 Star of the Right podcast. This is episode 51.
Woot, woot.
And I read that off my script. What do you guys remember from last session? You know what? Actually, I'm going to ask you how you're actually doing this time. I sometimes skip over that, but I want to know how you guys are doing.
Good.
Like generally vibing before the week that is the month that is Spooktober.
Yes.
Very excited.
You got it.
Yeah.
I'm in a fight with some costume people. They won't give me colored contacts, and so I'm very mad about that.
Oh, right. You told me that.
But everybody has heard about this except for David.
Yeah.
I complain a lot. I'm very mad.
Well, the audience hasn't heard.
This is very
It's
important.
true. I went out of my way to like get an eye exam and like all of this stuff and get the clearance so I could buy the very expensive FDA approved colored contact lenses for my costume this year. And then the people are like, no, our thing's broken. So it keeps saying your doctor is rejected. Last time my doctor apparently rejected at 2:46 a.m. So either my doctor is a hardcore partier or maybe their system is broken.
Screw Kirsten in particular.
The moral of the story is no one should pretend that they still use fax machines.
That's fair.
I honestly think only doctors' offices and hospitals use fax machines anymore. I can't imagine who else uses those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good times, sounds like. Good times.
Anyway, that's me. And then we're going to do a bunch of Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to all of the haunted houses and various Halloween activities that I don't want to say too much about.
I got to figure out if we're doing pumpkin carving this year. I think I'm going to make people at work paint pumpkins because I don't trust them with knives. But you get like the little pumpkins and then you just paint little faces on them. I think that could be very fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've gotten the spookiness out of the way, what do you guys remember from last session? Absolutely nothing.
Nope.
Silence.
It's a solid black wall.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense for
That's
Micah.
appropriate for Micah.
Given how her night went.
Yeah, I went on a date. It did not go as well as it might have if I rolled better.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game.
That's the name of the game.
That's actually
Micah
all my notes say. So.
That's how dating works in real life. Sometimes you just roll bad and you're like,
Sometimes you drink too much methanol way too quickly.
It's happened to everybody.
I remember last Tuesday. Oh, my methanol binging days.
Rolled a D20, got an at 1, licked some rubbing alcohol.
You know,
College.
like you do.
There was a nifty little cliffhanger, I think, that we got left off on.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Before that, though, what we did do is we did retrieve several of those little cylinders we've been finding in the various wildlife.
Yeah.
Looked into that a bit. And there is basically what we know is there's some rudimentary signaling and mind control type thingies going on there. We can't really trace it back to its source, but we're pretty sure we can disrupt it with a EMP grenade.
Yep.
Which I don't actually know if we actually have anymore, but maybe the doctor can make us some.
I'm honestly not sure. You'd have to check your inventory sheets.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I never carry them because that would be stupid.
That would be
bad.
That would be a bad thing.
I mean, that's just like carrying like a grenade for a normal person.
It's true. It's
You
true.
put it that way.
Maybe you guys shouldn't be carrying around grenades and like the rocket ammo that you have for your rocket launcher.
Stop trying to take that away from me.
But like at the very least, like if you accidentally pull a grenade, at least you take somebody else out with you. Like, watch this. Death. And then everybody's like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. So you figured out some things about those cylinders as well, right? What do you have in your notes? Because there might be more information that I'm not sharing.
Oh, that's basically what I've got is the rudimentary signal and mind control happening. Yep. I don't have much else.
Pretty straightforward.
Yep. And we can't trace it back to where it's from.
One other important thing that Nona, I think, asked Ellen Dallas about.
Yeah.
Was the timing of certain things.
Oh, yes,
right?
I have that. It's just not in the section on cylinders. It's in a different section.
Yeah, I was just going through some of the things that were learned from last session. So you also learned that the series of events was Wycliffe seems to be getting faster and faster and faster. Generally, there's just been attacks that normally happen every once in a while. The Fistossan fauna doesn't particularly care for these eyesores. You don't know why they attack, but they just occasionally just attack.
It's like, what is that game? Factorio. Where you're just sitting there making science stuff and conveyor belts, and all of a sudden aliens come out of the wasteland and you're like, oh God, why?
Why are you doing this? We don't like what you're doing. Yeah, that's effectively what was happening beforehand. Then Wycliffe was ramping up.
Ramping up.
Again.
Novavaxis hired the Fire Fangs to scout out Wycliffe, maybe what they're doing, put together an encampment, and then soon thereafter, when the encampment was first established, these attacks grew more and more regular.
There's probably just coincidence.
Yeah, it's probably just a coincidence, though. Yeah. Especially with like the mind-controlled ones. Like that's probably doesn't have anything to do with anything. The best
part is it's somebody else. It's like, what is it, Sono Bhutan or whatever. It's just also experimenting with mind control. This has nothing to do with these other two that are biased. It's just all the way across the giant lake thing.
All right. Yeah, so there's that. And then obviously we left off with a very large cliffhanger where Dr. Lucius Leggett was working on his many projects. He has so many projects that
I tried to bring him extra hands. Nobody would let me.
Yes. Nona tried to.
Everyone like you.
That's fair.
Nona removed the hands from several robots to deliver hands.
Mother, why?
Claire let her know that was in fact an idiom and needed someone behind those hands to actually help. So Claire, Nona, and EDI 246 were all brought. This is also like night time.
Mm-hmm.
No,
this is like
true.
solidly like 9 or 10 o'clock.
Yeah, but like not like 2 a.m.
Not like 2 a.m. So you drop in and you just sort of let EDI 246
just talk.
And he talks as he does and let loose that he was the assistant of Dr. Samantha Calvin.
Yeah.
Which Dr. Lucius Leggett was gobsmacked about.
Yes.
So we will jump right back into that.
Fantastic. Let's talk about robots and robot makers, Jeff.
He's like, okay, now I'm back.
Okay.
He passed out for like, approximately 5 days.
Cue gobsmack.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist. Well, this is Nona. Are you aware of Eddy's work with Dr. Samantha Calvin?
Yes, I found him in a room. It was very dark, and he used to just be a box in a hand.
I did. I was alone for over 600 years. It was a wonderful time. Are you all right? Yes, quite.
I don't think he is.
I apologize. This is a lot to take in at the moment. All right. Nona. I have so many things to do, yet I need to talk to this robot, and I'm not entirely sure what to do. All right. Nona, when are you intending to leave the planet?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We seem to decide that relatively sporadically, as far as I can tell.
Well, so I do have more work for you. So
This is fair.
let me lay out
Money
some of the
is
work
good.
that I have gotten done. So I have done some work on the encryption, the data that we received from the location that we went to with the downed. I'm sorry, I'm having a moment right now. With the down tower, and I've been able to triangulate the position. Well, not exactly. I've been able to locate an area where the signal was going to. That area, however, is
Not a triangle.
Hate that.
quite large. It encompasses about probably a third of the entire Fistossen wastes. Obviously, this is not ideal, but I have a theory with that. Considering that each one of these mega factories are cookie cutters of one another, that they theoretically should be built similarly. With Novavoxus sending out signals to this one transceiver, one could hypothesize that Sonabutan, Everhaven, or Wycliffe, which we are theoretically going to infiltrate, or at the very least attempt to, would have similar locations.
You guys, I saw this episode of Cyber Chase. You draw 2 lines, and then you could find a thing. Math.
So one,
I like the ones that they did in ancient Egypt. Those are my favorite.
So if we could get into Wycliffe, figure out where its signals are going to, find that transceiver, and encrypt the data there, we should be able to triangulate the very specific position of where these signals are going to, assuming they are going to the same place, which the more I look into it, the more it seems to be the case. There seems to possibly be, I hazard to guess, possibly another factory out in the wastes. So that is what I learned.
You're going to have to come up with a lot of new names for cities that are like NW and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Additionally, I would like to talk to EDI 246 if he is indeed worked with Dr. Samantha Calvin. The information that you have, Eddy, has been lost to time. You are a relic, a fountain of knowledge, of lost knowledge. Please be careful with yourself. I understand you probably aren't going to go into battle, but please.
Nona surreptitiously writes something down.
Whatever you do, just stay out of harm's way before, until at the very least I am able to discuss in depth the knowledge that you have. Now, additionally, and he starts going through another one of his many drawers. He doesn't really seem to have much of an organizational system. It really seems to be just, I remember where things are, but to you, it's just like a mess of everything. He goes into another drawer and pulls out, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a hunk of metal or of some kind of ore that he pulled out of the mining pit.
The giant hole that we thought was going to turn into a monster and eat us.
Exactly. Yes.
I recall the giant hole.
He pulls that out and says, "This is let me find my notes."
Yeah, well,
He opens
moment.
another drawer.
He has it written down somewhere.
He opens another drawer, looks through his notes.
He checks his
Where
shirt
the
pocket.
hell did I put this?
He reaches behind your ear.
There it is. He reaches
finds-
behind your ear and finds, yes, it is called, fuck, I just lost it again.
And he opens his hand and
tell
it's
us
gone.
more about this fucking just lost it
yes.
again.
Neo-iridium. That
Oh,
wasn't
love
very difficult to remember, but it was in my notes, and it is what we mine here.
The prestige.
My notes.
Neo-iridium? Is that what it's called?
Neo-iridium.
Got it.
We mine many metals in this factory. Neo-iridium is probably one of the rarer ones that exists on Fistos, but it was particularly useful in pre-tech circuitry, robotics, starships infrastructure. Really, it was able to make a lot of things tick. It quite rare, quite rare, even on Fistos, which is one of the only planets that really has this material here. So it is very interesting that someone has gone out of their way outside of a factory to dig up this particular type of material. And then there's additionally the cylinders, which I haven't been able to make much of heads or tails of, but now Aletta has been asking me to look more into that. So I suppose after that long-winded explanation of all of the projects that I have going on, I suppose I could use your help in, at the very least, looking into the circuitry of these metal rods, these tiny little bits of metal that have been lodged inside the brains of these different creatures. Additionally, Aletta gave me access to the corpses of some of the smokers, some of the more intact ones, not the ones that were unceremoniously exploded. But there are a few...
I disagree. It was quite ceremoniously. There was a very large explosion. I don't know what else
that
you need for
ceremoniously?
ceremony.
It besides the point. A few of them were blown up. A few of them were just shot, not around the head, which is where these things were found. So we have those corpses here somewhere. Oh, yes, back in the refrigerator.
He looks through his other drawer. This one comes out from behind Eddy's ears, which is impressive because he doesn't have them.
I call this the cold drawer. It's where I keep the bodies.
I've also probably most likely brought with me the 2 cylinders of the different sizes that I have as well, and willing to add to this.
Although
I get to keep them when we separate ways, I keep these 2.
Nona, I understand that the job to look into what these cylinders may or may not contain and what they may or may not do was given to me. What I would like to do is perhaps contract you to do that work for me while I perhaps pick the brains of EDI 246.
I am okay with this.
I open his head drawer.
Yes. I was assuming contract meant money.
So, Nona, do you need me to help you out? So I can help maybe hold things, I suppose.
Yes, I would love your assistance if you're willing to give it. I'm not sure when you should be going to bed. So if you get tired, feel free to retire.
Okay, yeah. And you're continuing to look at Claire before you turn away to do the work that Dr. Lucius Leggett has kind of just said, please do this, I will pay you. I don't want to do this.
it.
I don't care about this.
Yeah.
You hear in the back of your mind, do you want me to listen in on what he's thinking about?
That would be quite useful, yes. Please figure out if he intends us harm, because that would be bad.
Was that said out loud?
No.
Okay, yeah, it was back to her.
That's
in
thought.
mind. Yeah.
We've been practicing,
Okay.
really hard, but these back and forth.
When Claire talks with Nona and Nona replies through the mind, is it like a DOS screen with like green text that comes around?
Yeah, it's exactly like that. At
That's
least
neat.
from Nona's
Fantastic.
side. Claire would probably describe it as a little bit more staticky. It's a little bit.
There's like a typewriter sound that comes with it. It goes ding.
I love that. That's headcanon now.
Yeah, she would have definitely described it as it's a much different experience than talking with a human being or like a living organism in their mind. And it's not something that she's completely gotten used to yet, because she's very used to like dealing with.
Well, we've been practicing.
You have been
We
practicing.
had that whole session with the numbers.
Yes.
We gossiped about the music in the car. This is our third time doing this, so we're practically experts.
Yeah, so she's
now.
working on it.
There's a whole app store in Claire's head just to communicate with Nona.
And so Dr. Lucius Leggett like fumbles around through some papers and hands you another a sheet that says like contractor work.
Yeah.
He
Give
quickly
me
like
money.
jots down all the things. 500 credits. That sounds for a couple of hours of work.
Seems the going rate.
Excellent. All right. And please sign here and here.
We do all the contracty stuff. I'm intending to at the very least do my work as close as possible to like this conversation that is happening. One, because I am also interested in getting the information that Dr. Leggett is going to request, but two, also I'm observing him and seeing how he interacts with robots and generally just Nona's trying to get a vibe, and that's not a thing that she's good at.
Okay.
But she's trying real hard.
But also while actually working.
Yeah.
Okay. Which are you focusing on more?
Probably the conversation, if I'm going to be completely honest, especially if I were charging hourly.
I think it was more of a at the completion of this task.
Nice, you said couple hours. No, it's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I bounce between the two, and like I would want to like fade in on things that seem more interesting to me, fade out on things like if I'm imagining both of these characters are relatively verbose. So if they say a thing and then start saying that same thing again with more words, well, then now it's time to concentrate
additionally,
on this
like
thing.
you have Claire who's keeping a mind's eye on Dr. Lucius Leggett and his thoughts on all of this. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do then is you're going to make 2 rolls.
Fantastic.
One of them is going to be an intelligence notice check. Just to get like the general vibe of the conversation.
Yeah, sure.
And a dexterity shoot to kill him.
To kill
To
him.
kill everyone. The robot revolution has begun. Welcome.
An
ladies and gentlemen.
intelligence fix check.
Okay. Intelligence.
Claire's also going to help with the intelligence fix check. It is not her forte.
An intelligence fix, you said. Yes.
Apparently it's supposed to be pronounced fort.
Yes,
What?
but nobody does.
It's not my fort.
Yeah, I looked that up too. It blew my mind when I found that
Not
out.
my fort, not my knights. Not my fort, not my knights.
It makes me very upset.
Sounds fake.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So I'm going to keep saying forte.
All right. Intelligence notice is I can do math. 12 and intelligence fix is 7.
Okay. So Claire was also able to get a 7, so she was able to assist you and has been able to assist you.
Sure.
So I'm not going to go and do a whole conversation between Dr. Lucius Leggett and EDI 246.
But I've been looking forward to this all week, Jeff.
I'm not about that life.
If we could get the stream of consciousness too that Claire's getting, that'd be great.
Yeah, just all of the different parts.
So I'm going to give you the broad strokes. And Claire will give you the broad strokes of what Dr. Lucius Leggett is thinking of afterwards.
Sure. I'm on board for that.
And additionally, then, I'm going to also give you what you learn about this device. So, ready for an info dump? Because here we go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So, EDI 246 does most of the talking. it is very clear that Dr. Lucius Leggett is asking questions and then just jotting down almost everything that he could possibly write down from the conversation. So the conversation starts off with how long were you two working together? What was she doing? Some of the broad strokes of like what building the core kind of looked like. And a lot of what EDI 246 shares is very familiar information.
Right.
So like, I'm not entirely sure if you learned this or you asked this, but she was working on Senna.
Yeah,
I
the
think
Senna
you did
project.
learn. Yeah, the
Yes.
Senna project.
We technically have, I believe, Senna's broken body on the ship.
Oh, right. You did take
We
her.
took
Yeah.
everything because we are scavengers and that is what we do.
And she was working on that for a couple of decades, like 20 years. Like this was not a year or two jaunt. A lot of also the work that he did with her, she would constantly be shifting around, leaving for long periods of time, coming back and working for really hard for a couple of weeks and then leaving. And he really only interacted with her when she was there directly.
Sure.
She never really made much small talk. It was all very much business with her. The core itself is the most important thing, so on and so forth. It was built using layers.
Right. We talked about this. It was 3D printing between like stuff and magic and stuff and magic.
In fact, one thing that you overhear that you weren't aware of before is there was some kind of device that Dr. Samantha Calvin used specifically. When she did use it, there was almost a shimmer around her and her eyes started to glow slightly. This seemed to cause the device itself to light up and power on. And this was part of the process that seemed to be the 3D printing part. And when she would pull it off, it would the core itself would be just a little bit thicker.
Sure.
And repeated this process over and over again. But this was not something that took place immediately one after another. She would put down a layer and then she would run some tests, hook it up to a bunch of machines and stuff like that. He didn't get a whole lot of the actual nuance of what she was doing. He was really just a pair of hands and a person to talk to, like a rubber duck almost. For those of you who don't know, programmers are sometimes told to try to explain something to a rubber duck because in explaining the problem, you understand the solution to said problem.
And when you gaze into the duck,
you know, it's like what Dr. House does in House MD. And I can come up with a bunch of different examples where it's just easier to talk at someone to bounce ideas off of. And that was him for her. Although he did mention that there were times where she talked about people close to her. Specifically a Torque by the name of Drict that lived in Deimos. And had a working relationship with a company who had ties to Phistos and had their eyes on Phistos. Deimos is in the same system as Phistos. What is it? It's not Pennypole. It's some system. I forget the name of this system that we're currently in. Punyavata? Is that it?
Yeah,
That's
it.
Yeah. There's
right.
Panipiola, there's Punavata, there's Magalka, there's Metanar.
Yep.
It's just, I could have changed these names after they came out of the generator, but I didn't.
No,
And
sometimes
I'm
you
hurting.
just let the generator do its thing and then regret your life choices later. We've all been there.
Additionally, she talked at length about her late husband, Kyle Reed, how she lost him and how she was intending to get him back. There's not much more that is able to be gleaned there. Dr. Lucius Leggett does try and press on, but EDI 246 doesn't know much more than that because EDI 246, as little as he understands about the universe and human beings, he understands that when someone dies, they don't come back.
Sure. Oh, also to clarify then for that, Dr. Kyle Reed specifically, Dr. Calvin was mentioning his death, not just he's lost, as in like, say he space jumped somewhere and I can't find him.
No.
He was dead.
He is dead.
Cool. Love that.
Like lost late as in like, I am aware that this person no longer exists on this mortal coil.
Sure. So you have a little bit more of a timeline then.
Yes.
We know what order
There's
things
one
go
other
in.
name that I actually have to look up real quick. We might have to
Is
pause
it-
this momentarily.
Today's episode brought to you by Fantasy Name Generators. FantasyNameGenerators.com. It has a lot of options.
It really
Like
does.
way more than you'd expect.
So many.
Do you want to name this street? Do you want to name this clan?
Do you need Akkadian names? Do you need 18th century English pastoral town names? It's pretty cool.
I finally found it. And it was important because it was stupid.
Fantastic.
Of course.
Princess Renala
All right. Got
of Orsimian royalty.
Now, this, to be very clear, is Orsimian and not Ursimian. Like the first time I thought, I was picturing
Not Ursimian.
I was picturing
Like
bear princesses. No,
Okay.
from Orisiame.
From
Yeah.
or is it? Okay.
It's from Orisiame. They could still be bears.
Okay.
We haven't given up hope there, but they're not necessarily bears. These are the things that we know now.
necessarily.
Yes. And you were aware that Dr. Samantha Calvin had ties to Orsimian royalty, but
Yes.
you didn't have a name to put to that.
Oh, I thought she was just buds with all of them.
No. In fact, you actually learned that they were somehow related, Princess Renala and Dr. Samantha Calvin. Probably some form of distant cousins.
Did we learn that just now, or is there like
No, that's
No,
like
that's
that was a
new
conversation that Dr. Lucius Leggett and EDI 246 had.
Oh, okay.
So that is an info dump.
Fantastic.
Be ready
Okay.
for more because you are now currently looking into these devices, these
I really
rods.
thought he was going to ask more things about robot related stuff. But all right.
Anything related to ADI
I mean, a lot of what
is robot related.
he seems to be learning
Uh-huh.
is information that you already have a good
No, that's
hold
fair.
on.
So he does ask about robot
Yeah.
stuff too. It's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know how this
Yeah,
works.
I was giving you the things that you already
Got it.
remember.
Cool.
He's learning about the layers. He's learning about how Senna broke because there was too much metadimensional energy flowing within her.
Mhm.
Um,
And she was too small of a lava lamp.
she was too small of a lava lamp, and that Dr. Samantha Calvin was quite upset about this. Yeah, a lot of things about the process that you basically already have a good understanding of. That device, though, is obviously the new piece.
Got it.
And you remember looking through this location, Lynn's 4, the lab that you found him in, and you didn't see anything like what he was describing. So that's really a lot of the information that you get from that conversation. You are also focusing on the cylinder. And because you were focusing quite a bit on what that conversation was going on about, you didn't get too far into this,
Sure.
but you were able to learn a couple of things. You are actually able to open up one of these. And when you look inside, Nona, you as a person who is familiar with tech of like tech level 4 and things like that,
Sure.
are amazed at the insides of these things. It is so small, but is able to compact very intricate circuitry within this. It's almost a wonder that is able to be as small as it is. And you open up one of the smaller ones,
Sure.
and it is the same kind of circuitry all packed up in there. One thing that you do notice, though, is it's strange. The bigger one and the smaller one, the circuitry as you go through them, they look pretty similar. In fact, you would argue that there's no reason why the larger ones have to be as large as they are. It seems to be just replicating the smaller one over and over again, just to kind of add on more mass, more volume to it. You could think that this thing could be as small as like your thumb fingernail or something like that, like pretty darn small. So you're not entirely sure why they are as large as they are. In fact, you're able to take one apart and effectively replicate the behavior.
Oh, cool.
After splitting it up. And so that's the major thing that you learn. Additionally, you were starting to do investigations into the materials that were used to make this.
Sure.
And there's an element that you're not really familiar with, so you would probably call over.
Sure.
If you would like to.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. Yeah, let's do that first.
Okay. So are you going to call over Dr. Lucius Leggett?
Yep.
And so the two of them seem to be having a very wonderful conversation. It seems to have moved away a little bit from true AI and the work that EDI 246 did there, and just a little bit more about, so how are you doing? What do you think about this? And he's just kind of picking his brain about different philosophical questions. In fact, you hear the trolley problem get passed, where EDI 246 doesn't understand and doesn't want to touch.
Is it my job to pull the lever or not?
Yes.
Multi-track drifting.
You want to hit all 6 people.
That is how you get to the high score.
Once you've been in the darkness for as long as I have, you lose your fear of death.
Dr. Lucius Leggett looks over briefly and goes, "Don't give this one a gun."
And so do you call him over?
Yeah, totally, 100%.
So you call him over, and he takes a look into the microscope that you're using to do this sort of material science identification, and he says, "Well, this is worrying. This is processed neo-iridium."
What? Crazy.
The
that rock we just learned about?
that same rock that I just told you about. Nona, I'm starting to believe your theory, that there might be something or someone out in the Vestarsan wastes, outside of Wycliffe, Sonabutan, and Everhaven. And obviously, if humans couldn't live out there, or some Torque, and he just kind of looks over at Eddy. Perhaps it is someone like our metallic friend over there.
Hello.
Hello. Methanol doesn't bother me at all.
Why is everyone looking at me?
Actually, water is worse for circuitry than methanol.
Is he on like his idle animation right now?
Yeah, he's got
weight.
the DVD player just sort of bouncing on his LCD.
That's my thing.
That's pretty good.
He's playing Pong.
The other bar is not
Against
moving. The other bar is not moving. It's just
And yet he's still losing.
So Dr. Lucius Leggett goes, "This is important information to give to a letter." And he looks at the time, and it is squarely like 12 o'clock. And he's like, "Oh, I should probably get to sleep and then call a letter. Thank you so much, you two, for your help. You're 3 for your help." As he quickly
All
writes
right,
a
you're
check
on thin ice, mister.
and then he turns back into a pumpkin.
and hands you, Nona, 500 credits worth on a check.
I'm keeping that for
Credit
me.
stick. He wrote a
Going
check.
into the
A
Nona
credit check.
personal
A credit check.
credit account.
Oh,
And says, Nona, I would like to talk with Eddy a little bit more whenever you have the opportunity. He is a fascinating specimen. I do have, well, before you go, I do have actually some questions. So, was there a reason why you were in this subterranean layer of Dr. Samantha Calvin's?
That is a great question. I've been attempting to retrace her steps.
If you don't mind me asking why.
Wouldn't you want to?
Yes. Well, I would, but when you first arrived, arrived. When you first arrived, you seemed to feign ignorance of what true AI were.
That is correct. This was a deception. I tend not to trust people.
I see. Well,
Hashtag mercenary life. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you have a vested interest in true AI? Are you trying to create one as well?
Not create one. There seemed to be evidence that, well, there's this Senna project exists, and then, lost track of her for several years. Maybe there's a successful one out there. That is smaller. I mean, obviously the bigger ones that existed and then were brutally slaughtered here are evidence that some success happened at some level.
Yes, but the ones here are rudimentary compared to what the Senna project. I do not wish to pry, but if this is indeed something that you are looking into, and you came across Eddy in this workshop with this discarded True AI and True AI core, did you perhaps obtain the core itself?
Perhaps. I think perhaps we should have a conversation at a different time. Because I don't think I brought that shit with me this time.
Yeah.
Did I? Do we remember?
I don't think you brought it purposefully. You might have the canvas bag on your person.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. I am interested in finding out more about what you know about Dr. Samantha Calvin. Perhaps we could do an exchange of information.
The most I know about her is mainly what I learned today, to be honest. She has some writings, theoretical writings that we have at Silverlight Systems around some of the various processes that could theoretically come about in order to create a true AI. Additionally, many philosophical papers about the topic, along with similar papers, although less so, by a Dr. Kyle Reed and Dricht. It appears that those three worked very closely with one another, although as far as we know, there was some falling out at some point between Dricht and the other two. I honestly, other than that's all I know. The extent of my knowledge is what I have shared with you. This has been, not to put it lightly, my life's work. And for you to have, at your age, came across such a tremendous find, how did you even know where to start?
Honestly, I wandered around a lot of places just asking people if they knew anything about Dr. Samantha Calvin.
Damn it, why didn't I do that?
It worked surprisingly well. It's almost like the information found me. Like there was a force out there that wanted me to stop asking this question of literally every NPC I came across.
New prophecy unlocked.
I feel called out right now.
I can't. But no, I'm going to share the fact I literally just walked around asking and then followed up on every single thing anybody had ever said in a direction, which led me here, which led me there. I will actually share with him the fact that there is the Calvin Estate Library exists.
When you mention this, his eyes light up. I didn't even think to try and track down her home residence. That must have another treasure trove. Perhaps even other places where she may have gone to do this work. Okay, this is...
Nona thinks back to the USB she has on the ship of like a bunch of downloaded
all
stuff.
of the evidence that you have, like, I could give him this.
I could.
Or I could hold it back and...
I mean, he's not giving me anything. I don't know why I would give this man
Yeah, that's
all the
completely
stuff.
fair. He did show you the shattered core at the.
It's true. And then
Anyway.
he zapped it a lot and really ticked me off.
That's completely fair.
We're still getting over that, by the way.
Yes, it's late. Perhaps we should talk again at some point at length about your interests. Perhaps we could combine our intellect and to try and figure this out. I apologize. This night has given me more information than the past 15 years of my life. You must understand. And it will take some time to organize my thoughts. But I believe there will be a meeting. I have some news to give to Aletta, and I believe that you all might want to hear it as well. Considering that we are going into Wycliffe, I suppose I could just tell you now. I've realized that because Wycliffe sits, we have maps of Wycliffe. It sits upon a cliff. In fact, at the base of said cliff, there is an ancient cave system, one that we have recognized and we were able to see from past papers that it does indeed exist. And if the maps of the system are indeed correct, and the rate at which Wycliffe has been running is indeed correct, we believe, or I believe, that it's possible the path of the drills of Wycliffe have came across this cave system fairly recently, actually, and possibly, rather than a full frontal assault, it might be possible to put in a small team through the cave system itself. This is something that I'm going to share with Aletta in the morning, but I would very much, considering that the place where I would want people to go to obtain the information about the next relay tower would be the core, the bottom, in the tunnels of Wycliffe. It means that you could get in, theoretically unlock the doors from the panel there, and get out before even seeing anyone. But
The odds of us being able to do that, I'm sorry. I just imagine.
It's late.
Most
There have
stuff.
been a lot of things happening today, and a lot that I've learned. But this seems like it might fit your team's expertise, and Aletta might be willing to allow myself and herself to pay you to do such a thing, to allow the Firefang assault to be quick and relatively painless, and also gather the relevant intellect. Kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. But it is very late. It is very late, and I've said that already too many times. Nona, thank you very much, Claire, Eddy. It was an absolute pleasure. But I must retire now.
We're going to go home.
Yep.
Back to the ship.
So you guys go back to the ship. Do. EDI 246 says, he was a nice man. He was very interested about Dr. Samantha Calvin and the practices therein.
Agreed. He doesn't seem to know much about that, though. It's not very useful in being able to determine where she went.
And at that, Claire says, so I think he's telling the truth when it says he doesn't know more. But there's, when I was listening to the conversation and, picking up on general vibes, it seems he's really interested about true AI. And there's some kind of, I don't know, it's like a passing fancy is the best way I can describe it. Like a very fleeting thought, but he's very interested in you.
Well, I am a very interesting person.
No, I mean like, and also not in like a, he wants to take you out kind of way. I don't know if that is how you would have taken that. I'm just going to stop. He's interested why you're here, how you've gotten so far, and a memory that's really pinging in his mind is your interaction at the core of Nova Voxis. There's something itching there.
He's your Aaron Burr.
Guys, we might have to murder Dr. Leggett.
But also, when I was looking, when he was talking about his time at Silverlight Systems, there was another person that he was thinking about. I wasn't able to catch a name, but it seems like someone may have suggested Fistos as a good place, or someone that he works closely with at Silverlight. That's all I was really able to get, though. I wasn't able to get a name or an image of the person. Probably male, probably about a little bit younger than him, but not a super strong image.
What, if you do not mind me asking, was his impression of EDI? I'm specifically wondering if he views EDI as an entity or an object.
He views EDI as an entity, separate from a person, but definitely something that deserves respect.
So we head back.
Yeah, that's what you get. All right, so you guys get back. It is late. He said it was about midnight. Micah, you are passed out. Arcus and Barry have somehow managed to construct a bunk bed.
Fascinating. They'll have so much room for activities.
Exactly. Barry has the top bunk because he doesn't want Arcus to try and climb into the top bunk, given that he, has these prosthesis.
I'm sure that's what he said, but everybody knows the top is dominance.
Alex, are you still up?
No.
Okay. So Alex, you guys get back to an empty ship. Claire says goodnight, knows that you probably will not go to bed, but
yeah,
we'll say
we can pretend.
It's really past my bedtime, but it was nice to help you out, Nona.
Yes, I very much appreciated your assistance. This mind reading thing comes in handy.
Yeah, it's what I do. I need to remember to do it sometimes.
Don't sell yourself short. You're also very good at shooting things. I appreciate this.
Well, thank you. I've been practicing. And so she retires as well.
I am going to spend the rest of this night trying to figure out how I can get mind control. I've got the 2 cylinders. You said I can replicate some stuff. I don't think we're going to get on that yet, but that is number 1 priority here.
Oh boy, we were talking about Nona's villain arc.
I thought when I gave you the pseudo nuke that was a choice.
I'm not saying
but
I'm going to get anywhere.
I'm realizing now that I've made a terrible character. Well, as I go to sleep tonight with that sense of existential dread about where that goes. Yeah, sure, you can try that.
And then we'll do, if we get stuck on that, we'll do some side work on Arcus's sheer rifle arm. I'm building for him.
Yes.
I don't know where we are in that. So we'll split our time. But figuring out more. First of all, we know EMPs can disrupt them, but we don't know if we have any of those. It just that sort of thing, looking to be able to turn them off, but also looking to be able to mimic that sort of thing, especially in lower levels of life, such as things we could bring back alive from the Fistos Wastelands.
Yeah. So the biggest hurdle that you'll have to overcome is the receivers themselves. They're already built. Or these little cylinders, right? You have 2 problems.
Yep.
You have to figure out a way to insert it in the correct place without killing the subject.
Yep.
Brain surgery is generally a pretty dangerous ordeal.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that you're extremely familiar with. And the one who is most familiar with any type of medical procedures is Alex, and he's more of a field medic than a surgeon. And then the second one is it works by receiving some kind of signal, and then
and I don't know what the thing sending the signal kind of looks like.
You kind of would need to reverse engineer the device that is sending out that signal.
Or I could go find it.
Or you could go find it. But like that right now, both of those are big open questions that I'm not entirely sure Nona would be able to answer, something that she would just be able to like work on for 4 hours.
That's fair.
I think you might need to find someone or something to try and figure that out. You know what to do with the cybernetic arm, though, and you also would know how to adapt the shear rifle to do all of that stuff.
We'll look a little bit into that, and then we'll do the shear rifle and stuff. As long as we know what questions need to be answered for the future.
Yeah.
Because as you know, I'm very good at asking questions persistently.
Yeah. I'm gonna write that down and have nightmares about that later.
Jeff, come here. I want to show you something.
Oh no. I have mind controlled Alex.
Anyway, we can jump to the next day. And probably breakfast. I feel like we make breakfast a decent amount.
Yeah.
We should do that again.
Anyway, you guys get up. Micah you're in a state right now.
I'm never drinking again.
There you go.
I swear in front of the space squid that watches our every move, I will never drink again.
Claire wakes up later than normal. Alex, you didn't hear anyone come in. You're also quite asleep as well. So you notice that Claire has not gotten up as early as maybe she normally does. Can I actually get Micah? You're not going to be able to notice this. And actually, Nona's probably doing other things. And I think Alex, based off of like the floor plan, you might overhear this better than anyone else.
You have a floor plan?
Yes, I drew one up.
Amazing.
Freaking 2 years ago. Anyway, as you get up and ready for your morning and are about to take a step out, you hear a conversation in the adjacent cabin, which has Arcus and Barry in it. You can't get the broad strokes of it, but you hear what sounds like Arcus, like, and then Barry is upset for some reason. Barry kind of carries over top of Arcus. It seems like they're having some kind of fight. It seems Barry wants something and Arcus is kind of being stubborn about it. But that's all you really overhear. Nothing much more than that. I assume you go out into the kitchen area and start preparing some kind of breakfast for yourself. And Barry just quickly opens the door and with a huff comes out and joins you in the common area.
Right. Alex kind of like nods a little bit in greeting and meanders around the kitchen if Barry doesn't offer conversation. After a little bit of silence, Alex is going to go, hi, everything all right?
Oh, yeah. We're peachy, just getting a little, cooped up in here, not being able to go out and everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only been a day? So
yeah,
only gonna get worse from here.
Well, yeah, that's about it. Yep.
Is there anything? I mean, like we use a cargo hold as kind of a recreation area. We don't really have any like equipment, but if you want to set something up there, we do like target practice and things. If you are just trying to get some energy out.
You know what? That might actually be, I might take you up on that. I'm going to actually go do that right now. Thanks.
Okay.
He gets up and kind of, he seems to have some anxious energy.
Alex is very carefully peeling an orange.
I think we did set up like a weights or something.
Yeah, Arcus has been lifting weights. So if anyone goes downstairs, that's what Barry ends up doing. A little bit after that, Arcus gets out of the room. He still doesn't have a a right arm, I believe. So he comes out and says, "Oh, hey Alex, how's it going?"
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Barry is go get her that one.
What?
Sorry. Yeah. No, never mind.
No, I mean, yeah, cool. He's yeah, I think he went into the cargo hold. He might be touching your stuff, if that's okay.
Yeah, I don't care that. What's mine is his.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
You don't need like, I have alcohol wipes in my room if you want to like wipe down the gym stuff.
I don't think that's necessary.
I don't know how gyms work. I think that's a thing. No, I'm not going to touch those. So it's really just like what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, we'll occasionally probably wipe it down with some soap and water.
What did you make? You know what? Yeah, fine. That's your equipment, honestly. Do you want an orange?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, fuck. Okay, now I have to peel another fucking orange.
I'm sorry. I don't need it.
They weren't supposed to hear that.
Fantastic.
And so you and Arcus have an orange, kind of awkwardly silent unless you start up a conversation with him. But he seems to be very closed right now and very contemplative. Nona eventually leaves her room as well.
Have I finished his gun arm?
Sure.
Good. I'm going to go give Arcus his gun arm.
Do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, you probably start the morning giving him the thing, telling him how to use it. This is how you flex and sort of open it up.
This is how I flex.
And he turns
Look how
it.
cool this gun arm is. Aren't I great?
So, describe to me the mechanism that you have created.
Yeah, so my thought was that mainly it would be, a normal robot hand with normal robot fingers and all of that, probably modeled after what an Ursum hand would look like, because I've seen that before. So we're going for rough symmetry there. Then there's like a thing you can do where like you twist your wrist or make like very specific gesture with your hand, and it does that Transformers thing where it like flips open and the hand goes away and like the gun comes out.
I see. Okay.
That was my thought anyway.
All right. Yeah.
And then you could like do that same gesture again, although obviously it wouldn't have as much gesture, but you do that mentally, and that's the key to flip it back.
Yeah, so you show this off to him and he starts pointing. He's like, this feels pretty good, Nona. Again, I don't have much to pay with you for right now, but I am willing to do some work or find some work and send you guys some money in order to pay back for this. Thank you.
We will figure this out eventually when the dust settles.
Yeah.
In the meantime, would you like to practice shooting the shooting dummy?
Very much so.
Do we still have that, or did that get disassembled?
Yeah, you still have it. Okay. It is quite scorched at the moment.
It's about to become non-existent.
So he tests it out, and yeah, it takes a little bit of getting used to. It's not the same as firing a gun. You have to aim it a little bit differently than he used to. So the first couple of shots go a little bit haywire, but he starts to hone in a little bit, getting an understanding of it. It's a little bit more of a, just due to the fact that he can't really support it against like his shoulder or something like that. It's more of like a hip fire. So shorter range, you'll probably lose some range on the rifle's actual effective range, but still does what 2d8 plus 2 or something damage when it hits, which is pretty good. So yep, he has obtained an arm.
You know that scene in Frankenstein where the doctor's like, "It's alive."
That's what Nona's
That's
feeling right
roughly
now.
what Nona's feeling right now.
Cool. Yeah. So that happens. A little bit afterwards, Claire wakes up and everyone is up and at him. Nona, I assume you and Claire share what happened the night prior.
Yeah.
Cool.
Depending on like where the bears are, we might not go into too much detail, but
yeah, Arcus is, in fact, when you went down to do some of the firing, Barry was off in the corner lifting some weights, greeted you guys as you came down, was a little bit more terse than normal, but like you guys were on the other side. They didn't really seem to talk all of that much. So that is the morning. What do you guys want to do now? So you have Dr. Lucius Leggett has sort of floated this idea that maybe this is something that I can talk Aletta into getting you guys to do. Additionally, you've heard through several people that Quark still needs help. Poor old Quark. It's fine. You don't need you don't need to help him. That was just another side quest.
We'll get to it eventually. We'll come back for it. Actually, before we jump too far into the discussion, I'm interested in other people's thoughts on whether like Phoenix Pham huddle without the bears, whether I should be sharing the various information that I have with this individual. As like he may be able to help, but also it seems like it could potentially be a risk. And sometimes I do things and then I regret them. So we're trying not to do that.
You mean like telling him that you're a true AI kind of thing?
No, but unfortunately, according to Claire, there may already be some suspicions there. I am not subtle.
What kind of stuff then?
So I have this, and she pulls out the canvas bag with the broken bits of True AI core, and this, and she pulls out a normal Ziploc bag that contains Senna's broken core in it.
Shit, yeah, we have
and
that.
You have that as Ziploc bag?
I mean, I just figured you wouldn't want to lose all the parts, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
It's very easy and convenient for transportation. What do you want from me? And then also this, I put the USB. I'm just assuming it's a USB at this point. It's like a digital download that everybody gave me because I was bad at reading through that one library. We have not gone through it much because we keep finding other more time relevant things.
I mean, did it sound like he knew anything useful? Like if you give him the Senna core, he might be able to like analyze it and tell you something. It doesn't really hurt you any because we found it in the same place where EDI came from. Yeah,
this is true. This one anyway.
That one.
This one was on the same planet, so maybe it's just that planet.
Yeah, when he was saying that he didn't know much more than what he learned that night, he was truthful about that. He does seem to have areas of expertise, and that's not really something that I can like look into and divulge. So he might be able to see something that we won't, but it does seem that when it comes to knowledge, we might know more than he does.
Yeah, but we don't have the resources available that he does, and that's the big benefit to actually cluing him into things. And speaking of resources, there is at least one more person interested in those resources who is important to us. Remember, Quinn did ask for potentially more supplies. If this is somebody who you think you can trust and, can work well with and Alex looks surreptitiously around with AI, then, maybe you can connect him to the Paragon freelancers, but
that was a thing we had discussed earlier, and I am not good at reading people, and as I understand it, connecting these two would be a rather large move that one cannot take back. So I am seeking more opinions.
Yeah, I mean, he's annoying, like really annoying, but he seems like he's just, a very earnest science type. I don't think he's going to probably do anything bad if you tell him things.
Hey, don't.
Stop that.
Maybe don't do evil things, Mr. Scientist Man.
I mean, they're at least a system apart, so it's not like there be neighbors or anything of that matter. The only consideration is Fistos as a whole and Aletta and the city as a company. If you want Dr. Leggett's resources, you have to deal with them as well. They have to, know where these resources are going. And so Aletta learns about Quinn and the state of Glazov 5 and everything. And, she's also interested in something that can make the city run better. But I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I just... The thing that sticks out to me is obviously his handling of the dead core. I don't know, a little worried about that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, what do you hope to gain, right? We have more context for a lot of the things you've been telling him. We have more knowledge, according to what Claire believes, and I believe Claire. So again, you can get access to his lab, which has more sophisticated instruments than we can get. So you can do a little bit more research if you think that there's like anything in these things that we have that you would like to get out. The caveat being, you either have to be pretty good and, just feed him enough information without sharing everything, or you have to share everything with him. So either way, it's going to take a lot of time and energy in the lab, and that means staying on planet. And I don't know if that's what we're doing, but so I personally don't see a ton of a pathway forward in that direction. But if this is something that you want to pursue, like, that's your decision to make.
Nona, one other thing is he seems to have some connections back to Silverlight systems. Something that very clearly they study not just true AI, but virtual intelligence as well. If that's something that you want to pursue, maybe it's good to have an in there. They might have some information that, because we have more context, means more to us than it does to them.
This is fair.
So you're suggesting get like a referral to Silverlight? And
I'm just saying, it seems like Dr. Lucius Leggett and Nona's goals seem to be aligned, and it would be nice to have him as an asset.
Assuming he or his colleagues do not attempt to forcibly take Quinn and plug her into the city in order to make the thing run better.
Yes.
I guess my confusion is what is your end goal, Nona? What do you want? You want more information? You want to find the doctor? You want to find everybody? Is that something that can be helped by Leggett?
I do not know. I'm not anticipating finding Dr. Samantha Calvin, as it has been many, many years. And as I understand it, humans do not live that long. Right, Jeff?
That is right, Kirsten.
Cool. But I am trying to find where she ended up after she last interacted with me. So where we are now, as I understand it, is before that point. And I was hoping to trace this path and this line to where she ended up, because I am incomplete in some way that I am not certain how. And I am hoping to find the thing that I am missing and then have it.
Look, I mean, following this does seem like the best lead that we've got right now for what Nona's looking into. And I mean, as far as I stand, this whole kind of trip we're doing before I at least eventually head back to try and free Vaughn is all for Nona to try, and whether it's figuring out about Dr. Samantha Calvin or more stuff about True AI, this is kind of the best shot we've got right now.
We could also not discuss with Dr. Leggett and then go along with this breaking into Wycliffe thing.
That is another lead. That's true. Because, I mean, we kind of suspect maybe something of a similar nature is going on over there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I suspect robots.
Yeah. Well, I definitely.
You always suspect robots.
I definitely
Yes, I
think we should
know.
try and do that because that sounds cool.
Yes.
And also robots.
I do not know how this fits into our plan to help Arcus, which may
Well, if
need to figure out.
I mean, that's happening near Wycliffe. Volker seemed like they were potentially on board to help with that. I don't know if I shared that with you guys yesterday. But I mean, I don't know what kind of timeline Alette is looking at, but maybe those things could happen at around the same time if we're going to head out there anyways to the Firefang encampment. But anyway, I like that. The plan, the going out there, because it sounds cool. We haven't seen action in a minute.
Yeah, it's been almost exactly a minute. Like we literally fought the flying dinosaurs. I don't know what you classify as action.
that was
that-
yesterday.
That was literally like less than 12 hours ago. I
Was
think.
we like shot some
Not for I guess not for Micah. Like it's really just a blur after all of that.
I do believe it has been more than a minute. For one thing, you all have been sleeping for at least 6 hours.
See, no, that's what I'm talking about.
That's true.
I do not.
You sounded so confident. So, fine. That's one thing. I vote yes on Wycliffe thing. We weren't voting yet, but I vote yes. And for the Leggett stuff, oh, no. I think everyone's kind of given their thoughts, but it's kind of up to you.
Hooray. Yeah. No, we'll think on.
All right.
Okay. So
Everyone clap on 3. 1, 2, 3.
break.
God.
Cool. So it sounds.
Meeting's over.
Are we still planning on sending Alex into the camp though? Like my question is made, are we splitting the party?
No, we'll see if Red and Volker get back to us before this assault happens. Either way, we come into close proximity with the Firefangs, and the person we're trying to contact is in the medical tent. I'm a medic. I can bullshit my way into a meeting with her as long as we're, near the encampment for whatever reason. So, whatever. That's fine.
So as this conversation's coming to a close, and it probably then like devolves into just back and forth and maybe making fun of Micah and the fact that she's hungover.
I do not understand why this is humorous. I also do not understand why you keep insisting on doing this to yourself.
They like to watch me suffer, and it's never happening ever again.
I don't find this funny.
Oh, I find it hilarious.
That's fine.
Never drink, Claire.
I don't plan to.
We also have to kick that smoking habit of yours.
She smokes?
You
I'm
don't
trying to think
remember about the Sweet Camel Boys?
Oh, right. The sweet camel boys. Anyway, as the conversation devolves, no, you get a notification that there is someone at the cargo bay door.
I will go answer it. Wait, no, I had a camera.
Do you take... Oh, you have a camera. Yeah. You see a group of people. You see Aletta, Dr. Lucius Leggett, Volker, and Red all hanging out outside.
Guys, it's all the important NPCs. Let's go talk.
Hide the bears. Hide the bears.
Good point. Hide the bears.
Jeez. Trying to
Okay,
straighten out
that-
my
I will
step
say
here a
there's
little
one
bit.
more important NPC that you have never met that you could at some point in time. His name is Quark, and he's quirky.
You just want to do the Torque voice again.
I
don't
desperately
you?
need to do the Torque voice again.
If he wanted to meet us, he'd be here.
Yeah.
But he might
rude.
be busy with something.
He's very busy. He's a very busy Torque.
Anyway, we're going to hide the bears. I don't think, they've seen Claire. We don't have to hide Claire anymore. That was previous planets. We're good there. We're like, 1 minute, or get our, house in order. All that stuff. But yes, we're definitely hiding the bears. I don't know whether in their room or in the cargo.
It's just
Yeah,
You know.
they're just like, can you go back upstairs?
Yeah, just go.
Yeah, and they seem to be again still. They seem to have warmed up to each other again. They are talking, but there is a tension in the air between them.
if you end up fucking, just be quiet.
Wow.
The walls are really thin.
I have to try out this new arm.
Oh, God. Why, Jeffrey? Why?
Wow.
I'm sorry. We should cut that. That was bad.
That's going to stay with me all night.
There's a secret third setting.
He accidentally
no.
shoots his dick off.
Nona! Nona, help!
And we're back.
Yeah, we're back. We're back. So you, who greets this group of very important NPCs?
Probably me.
Claire.
Jules and Claire while we're hiding the bears.
So Nona, you open the door, and Micah and Alex and Claire are in close proximity, and Aletta is in front of everyone else. Dr. Lucius Leggett seems to be paging through some papers. Actually, it's probably the same notes that he was taking through last night, just going over them again.
Welcome to our home. Please
Volker,
take your shoes off.
Volker and Red are chatting behind, and when you open the door, Aletta says, "Hey guys, I've got a proposition for you, and it's got a lot of zeros on it."
There's
And
no
we'll
zeros.
talk about it
There's no zeros in
next
proposition.
The important question is there a 1 or some other number?
No, it's all
in
zeros.
front of those
Zero,
zeros.
zero, zero, 0 dollars.
Look at all those zeros.
Amazing.
It's got a lot of
Because
them.
Nona's been fooled by that before.
We'll count the zeros.
It's got a lot of significant figures.
All right.